Welcome to the Devonshire Diz. Luke and I are back from Florida. Let's hear some of those highlights. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Devonshire Diz. Last time that we had a episode live on Devonshire Diz, we were talking about March planning because myself and good friend Luke were heading across the pond to enjoy all things Walt Disney World. The trip has happened. It was magical on both sides, and I'm delighted to say Luke has joined me again tonight. How you doing, Luke?
Hello, mate. How are we?
Not too bad, not too bad. Luckily, the sunshine has finally arrived for the UK, so that helps with the Disney blues, that we can actually feel a bit of sunshine. It's not Floridian heat, unfortunately, for us, but a little taste of sunshine always makes everyone a bit more positive.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's been absolutely gorgeous down here in South Wales. I've got to be honest. It's been very nice, very hot. Like you say, not quite Floridian heat, but I'll take it any day of the week. Very nice indeed.
Great stuff. And we are going to do a little bit of reminiscing today. For those subscribers who also follow Brits Guide to Disney Vacation Club and Kev, you would have heard part one of Luke's trip report from March. Part two will be dropping, I believe, the start of June. And in between, we thought it was a good idea to jump onto Devonshire Diz and cover all the highlights from the March trip from us personally and also from the family's perspective here and there. We're going to call this the March 2024 Walt Disney World's Awards episode. Cue the tacky Hollywood royalty-free music that I can find online.
I can see the lights now.
So we're going to go through 10 categories, 10 different awards for our March trips, and just go through what our highlights were for each category and have a bit of discussion about it.
Sounds good to me. Fire away.
Great stuff. You know, there's so many attractions over in Walt Disney World across all the parks. So the first award had to be, what was the favourite ride for you personally in March 2024, Luke?
It has to be, and I just there's no way of sort of anything topping it at the moment for me, but it has to be Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. It's just for me. I mean, it's the second trip I've been now that it's been there, and it just doesn't disappoint. It's just fantastic. I think I only wrote it twice this time, but I did get two different songs, so I've actually ridden it. I think 5 times overall, and I had 5 different songs every time.
Oh, amazing.
So I think there's only 6 overall. So one song to go, but yeah, still Guardians. It's still for me top tier roller coaster. Just love it.
What's the top song for Guardians? Have you got a favourite?
For me, Earth, Wind, Fire, September.
Yeah, people are saying September.
I just love that song. It just fits perfectly. Yeah, brilliant.
Great stuff. And how about the ride itself? Obviously, it's a roller coaster in itself at the minute with the technology that they've brought to Guardians. How does it feel? People have mentioned motion sickness. Did you feel any of that?
No, I mean I love my roller coasters as you know we've chatted before. So for me, totally fine. I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't been on it and haven't listened to podcasts sort of saying what happens, but it's very different. There's nothing quite like it. It's very unique. There's 6 different experiences down to what song you've got. And this time, actually, one of the times we were in the front cart, which was actually quite cool because there's nothing in front of you.
Yeah.
And without sort of spoiling what happens, you don't seem to see anyone so much in your path. So it is quite cool. I think we had like Gloria Estefan for that, maybe. It was quite sort of dancey. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. I think the only thing to do, I don't know actually whether it would spoil it. I'd love to see what it's like with the lights on.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a picture actually uploaded recently, a couple of days ago, where they showed it on light with the lights on, and it's a hell of a feat that they've been able to create such an attraction inside as well. It looks amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I guess it's like Space Mountain, isn't it? Space Mountain is just winding inside itself, and there's if you go on YouTube, there's plenty of videos where people have ridden it in the with the lights on. It'd be cool to do that with Guardians.
Yeah.
But what was your, because that was your first time riding Guardians this trip, wasn't it?
Well, unfortunately, we didn't get anywhere near it, and I was gutted not to do it.
Oh,
The first day that we got to Epcot, there was an opportunity. I actually had a virtual queue for it, but it ended up being too late. We were pretty jet lagged. Epcot was one of the first days, and the kiddos just couldn't last the time that we were waiting. So we parked it, and I said the standard thing that so many people do and say, "There'll be time. We'll get to it again." And didn't make the virtual queue the next time, and we just ran out of time. So unfortunately, I didn't get anywhere near it.
I can't believe it. I remember you telling me that you missed that one,
Yeah,
and I just assumed after we left you had about what, a week left. I just assumed
yeah,
you've ridden it.
yeah, yeah. We got to Epcot maybe twice, I think, in the second half of the week. One was an afternoon. The virtual queues were all gone by that point. Um, and the final time we just completely got through the day and missed it. So yet to ride it, unfortunately, which I'm sure it may have changed my opinion, given your review of it sounds pretty standard across the board from everyone who's ridden it, that this is now the top ride in Walt Disney World.
Yeah, yeah. For me anyway, Tron is Tron is fantastic, but for me, Guardian still pips it. Still, still sort of nudges to the top.
Do you need to specifically be a Marvel fan to really enjoy it, or do you think it's for anyone?
No, not. I think it's for anyone. It's just a great ride. And if you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy, sort of the pre stuff will make sense to you, and you might get some of the humor. But once you're on the coaster itself, you don't need to know the source material really. It's just get on there and enjoy it. And even if you don't even know the song, I mean, if you know the song that you have, I mean, that makes a difference, especially if you like the song. I think they've chosen. I don't know what all the six songs are, but I think they've chosen quite good songs anyway. So
Yeah, September would probably have been the one that I would be looking for if I did get the chance. And when the time comes next trip, it will certainly be the one I'm looking out for sure.
yeah, and my tip is, it doesn't matter what cart you're in, but the front row of that cart just feels better than the back row. Don't know what it is. Front row of the cart.
Awesome. Can you request it?
Probably. I requested front of Tron, like I said to you when we were out there. I know you did the same.
Yeah, great tip.
So you probably can. You probably can, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Guardians wins the award for favorite ride. Nicely done. At my side, favorite ride, it would be Tron, being a new experience, and I absolutely loved the launch of Tron. Was it worth the wait? In my opinion, it certainly was. I know we waited a long time for that building to be a go, but it was a great ride. Certainly recommend it. I get the sort of constructive criticism, shall we say, of Tron being slightly short. I can see that. I would like it to have been a few seconds longer, but as a new attraction to Magic Kingdom, I think it's a fabulous ride. It doesn't pip my number one. My number one, as a huge Star Wars fan, still is Rise. I mean, it's just the immersion that does it for you. We've mentioned it on this podcast before. We've mentioned it on other podcasts such as Brits Guide. It's an experience. It is an absolute experience. The technology behind it is fantastic. The animatronics inside, especially when they're all working, is just fabulous. And as a genuine Star Wars nut, to be immersed in that sort of attraction in a land for Star Wars, just it doesn't compete at the minute.
Yeah, it was always number one for me until I wrote Guardians, to be honest with you. So I totally agree. What a ride. And like you, I like my Star Wars. So
Yeah. How was the wait for you when you went on it in March?
Rise.
Yeah.
Um, I genie plushed it or lightning laned it, individual lightning lane, and we were probably on it in about 15 minutes of that. But I think the general queue, I think the line was about 2.5, 3 hour wait. But I think we don't know, we might have talked about this on Brits Guide. But my sister's boyfriend went back one evening when it was a bit quieter and got on there in 20 minutes without on the general line. So it's a timing thing, I think.
Yeah, yeah. The reason why I bring it up is because I went on single rider. Loz was looking after the kiddos just before Phantasmic. It was about, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes out, and we were walking through Batu, and I said, "Oh, do you know what? I'll have a look at it just to see what it's like at this time." And strolled on in 20 minutes. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. That certainly saved the lightning lane, because I most certainly would have dropped those Disney dollars on that ride to make sure I went on it. But thankfully, it was short and sweet. I think it is down to timing.
And I think so. And I think that sort of time in the evening, because that's when Connor went and rode it again. He went at that sort of time and got on quite quickly. And I was checking some other times in the evening, and it seems that Rise is actually a shorter queue than Smuggler's Run.
Oh wow, really?
And I don't know whether that's because of location, because everyone in the evening wants to go and see the Falcon lit up at night. Whereas if you didn't know where Rise was, you could walk past it quite easily. So I wonder whether that's it, but I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, interesting. Yeah, but what a ride! Totally agree. It's a great ride. It's certainly up there for me.
Yeah, two fantastic rides to kick this awards episode off for sure. Next award that we've got for our March 2024 trip is the favourite show, specifically looking at the daytime shows, because we're going to cover nighttime a little bit later.
I haven't done it in so long, but it was great. Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular.
Oh, a classic.
Had probably undone it in about 20 years, and it was just great. And the stuntmen were good. The little jokes in between, it takes 40 people to push that ball, and then there's two guys just rolling it up. And just the whole thing of it, and I tell you why it's my fave show, because I think that Hollywood Studios or MGM or whatever you want to call it needs to bring back more of that stuff. Needs to bring back that original feel of a working studio. Now, I love what they've done with Galaxy's Edge. I actually really love Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I love that. Even though I do miss Great Movie Ride, I do miss stuff at the Backlot Tour though. So I think they've got to find that balance. I think there's still work to do in Hollywood studios to get that balance. Um, and if they can bring more stuff in, like Indiana Jones, like the Backlot Tour, things like that, then I think we're on to a winner. But I think the trick is not to sort of fall into the Islands of Adventure sort of thing, where it's like everything has to be a roller coaster that's gonna like blow your socks off. And a lot of people want that. They go to Universal and they just go to Islands of Adventure rather than because let's be honest, I think if there wasn't for Simpsons Land and Harry Potter, the original Universal Park probably wouldn't have the attendance, because we all know Islands of Adventure is more popular. And now with Epic Universe, the attendance to the original park might completely drop off. But I think that there's still a place for the shows and the softer rides, and I just think we need to have that in Hollywood studios. And I think that's why I'm choosing Indiana Jones, because it was just great. It just gave me that feel, that nostalgic feel of MGM back in the day. And Rachel had never done it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. She's always good, and I was like, yeah, it is actually quite good. Why haven't we gone back and done this? I haven't done it since I was a teenager, so it was good. It was good. So that's my pick, and probably not what would have been expected, I can imagine.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I 100% get it. It's like when you're thinking of the essence of MGM and behind the studio as the sort of mantra of MGM was back then, you can't get anything more MGM than the stunt spectacular seen behind the scenes of a production like that.
Yeah,
The working sort of studio and all the little quirks that comes with it. I think it's a great show. I've watched it multiple times in my lifetime, and although the script of it rarely has changed, and the production itself hasn't necessarily changed. It's still something that I love to go back and reminisce on for sure.
Yeah, and I'm a big indie nut as well. Like more than I am like Star Wars and stuff. I love Indiana Jones.
Yeah, hey
Yeah,
Lucasfilm,
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
they've done
Honestly,
some brilliant things.
no, I've got a mate of mine. When the third one's on TV, we'd sort of be texting Croaks. I could tell him it's on, and he knows exactly what I'm talking about. And then we're texting Croaks back and forth. Mostly the stuff that Sean Connery says because it's just brilliant. But yeah, love all three of those first three films. Four was a little bit. It was okay. The latest one was. I watched it. It was okay. But yeah, I live in Indiana Jones. So and yeah, but do you know what? Like you said, it hasn't changed, but it doesn't need to.
No,
It doesn't need to
absolutely.
change. It's a great show, and if no one has watched it because they just want to go on all the rides, I highly recommend it. It's nice to get out of sit down, half an hour. I think it's 30 minutes. Sit down and enjoy something live in front of you.
Yeah, that's a key thing. That's a key thing, and I think across the parks, Disney have had a really good balance of having that sort of show production alongside your immersion of rides and obviously the parades, etc. I think they do need that theatrical side of things of getting people into an auditorium and sitting down and enjoying things like Indiana Jones, Beauty and the Beast. There's another one which certainly probably would have topped Penny's list. She absolutely loved the Beauty and the Beast show as well, the sing along, and you just need it. The one that I've picked for mine is a different park, but again, something that's been around since I believe the park inception. I absolutely love it. I love the IP, Festival of the Lion King. I just think it's fantastic. Gets the whole family going. Everyone knows the songs. They can all join in, and actually the production effort that goes into that with the Tumbling Monkeys being back. When we went in 2022, it was a taste of the Festival of the Lion King. It was the shortened version, so you didn't get the Tumble Monkeys. It wasn't the full production, but this time it was back to its past glory, and it was such a good time, especially for families. I think it's great.
Do you know what? Haven't done that probably since the park opened.
Oh wow,
How
really?
how bad is that? That is awful thing to say, and that's kind of down to the like we're saying like oh, I got to get on the rides, got to get on Everest, got to get on the rapids,
Yeah,
and we missed a lot in Animal Kingdom this time because Fliss fell asleep, and a couple of times we went, we just didn't get around to them, didn't do the rapids. I think they opened the day we went at one point, and it was like they were down, and then they were open again,
right.
so didn't get around to doing Festival of Lion King because I wanted to find a Nemo one as well.
Yes, another good one.
Yeah, I didn't get around to doing that. So and didn't get around to doing Beauty. You just mentioned Beauty and the Beast. Didn't do that this time as well. There's a lot of the shows sacrifice shows for character interactions and rides. If I'm honest,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, we'll see how we get on with the next trip because they've got to go in because that was we both said oh we must do Beauty and the Beast and we just didn't get around to it. But I had to wait for Tower Tower one day. There was a 170-minute wait because I went down and I had to wait for my lightning lane. About I think it was an hour for my lightning lane.
oh ouch.
So yeah, so that kind of ate into the Beauty and the Beast because that was the plan to do Beauty and the Beast. But there we are. But, yeah, Festival of Lion King. Got to do it again at some point because I don't think I've done it since the days of when the park opened because I went around about it might have been the year or the year after it opened quite early on when I was younger,
Right.
and yeah, it just haven't done it. So I'm guilty of that.
Fliss a Lion King fan?
Not really. She's watched it, but that's something that could even get her into it more.
Yeah, potentially.
We're looking to go end of next year. By the time we go, so it could completely change.
Awesome. We're doing quite well here. We've done 2 awards already and got completely different answers, which just shows the scale of Walt Disney World. I love it. Let's see how we get on with the next one. Third award of this episode is the favorite character interaction of your trip.
This was hard.
Yeah, there's so many good ones.
Yeah, and I'm going to give some honourable mentions here before I give the top one. Honourable mentions to the likes of like Mirabelle and Anna and Elsa, where Fliss completely froze. For those who aren't listening, sorry, Fliss is my daughter. She's 2.5. Just for those who are listening and thinking, who's this Fliss he keeps talking about? Yeah, she's 2.5, and she's a massive Frozen fan. Princess and the Frog. She loves Tangled. She loves Mirabelle, and meeting especially Anna, Elsa, and Mirabelle, where she completely froze. like couldn't even like it's as if she'd lost all control of her body. But they were very special moments. She couldn't even smile. It was very odd, and we were sort of laughing at it. And I mean, there's so many good moments, but I will pick out one, and it's not a new character because we've met them before when we took her when she was one. But Chip and Dale. We were gonna we were waiting for Stitch on the first day. As Adam knows, we missed Stitch one day, but Chip and Dale in Magic Kingdom they sort of alternate with Stitch. We did get back to see Stitch, and that was a great character interaction. But we met Chip and Dale on this occasion, and I've never heard her giggle so much. And we had a conversation about, I think when we were out there, about how good this Chip and Dale were. They were absolutely brilliant, taking her ears off her head, bouncing on the nose. They were tickling her. I've got some fantastic photos from the Photo Pass, the Memory Maker service, of her just like smiling, giggling. She just didn't stop giggling and laughing. And for me, it's like, yeah, that's great. You know, I had a massive smile on my face looking at that, and even now when I'm talking about it, it brings back that. So for me, and it's not one. If you'd asked me before I went, I would never have picked this one. But Chip and Dale in Magic Kingdom in Tomorrowland was the best character interaction for me on this trip.
Yeah, they're absolutely awesome. And I've jinxed us because my favorite character interaction of our March trip is Chip and Dale in Tomorrowland in Magic
I
Kingdom.
had a feeling you were going to say that.
For
Yeah.
all the same reasons. Like Penny was, it was early on in our trip, and for some certain children, it does take a little bit of time to warm up to character interactions. When we went in 22, it was still just the pandemic sort of restrictions were still there, so you couldn't necessarily go up and give characters a cuddle. We did go to DLP in 23, where she had her first sort of in-person interaction with characters, but this was another scale in Walt Disney World, as we know, and she absolutely loved it. She didn't stop laughing. They were messing about, they were banging on the doors behind, trying to get out of the sunshine, and they fell asleep on each other for a second or pretended to fall asleep, and she had to go and wake them up, and that just created the whole bundle of laughter afterwards when they jumped back up. I think the energy that Chip and Dale brings as a character interaction, it doesn't matter where you go. We went to Chip and Dale in Animal Kingdom as well. We saw them in their Dino Bash costumes, and it was exactly the same. That could easily have been the favorite interaction for us because they were fantastic over there as well. But Tomorrowland, Chip and Dale around the side of Buzz, that pips it for us as well. I thought they were great.
Do you know what? When I said it, I did have a feeling because we talked about the fact how good they were, but I did think you were going to pick the ones from Animal Kingdom. So it's interesting that you went for the Tomorrowland ones above that. But like you said, the Animal Kingdom ones sound just as good. But I think anybody listening, if they want to see that moment, you know, and there's plenty of them, but if you want to see that moment, go and see Chippendale because they just double act and it's brilliant.
Yeah, I remember going as a kid, and obviously, we're, as we've mentioned on Podcast Pass, we're 80s, 90s Disney through and through. And I remember as a child seeing the Rescue Rangers for the first time, and I thought it was incredible as a child, and I remember that energy as a child, and now seeing it as a parent and seeing your child enjoying that same thing is a special moment for sure.
I will say something. I've not seen them in the Rescue Rangers outfits.
Oh wow, it's special.
That would be me having a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, forget the kids. Like that's because we did see Max and Goofy, and I'd never met Max before. So we had pictures of Max and Goofy, and I was like, yeah, this is good. This is like and Fliss likes Goofy movies, so she was up for it. But I was kind of like almost having one by myself. I didn't. I did go and have one with Chewie by myself. I abandoned everyone and went and saw Chewbacca. But like, yeah, so stuff like that. I mean, if I'd seen Rescue Rangers, because my mate Alex has got a picture with the Rescue Rangers, and I'm like, oh man, they stopped it. They brought it back last year, and they took it away again.
They did.
I think it was like our last trip, like 4 days after we left, something like that. They brought it back, and I was like, oh man. And then I found out like they took it away a few months ago. And I was like, "Oh, I'm not. This is not meant to be."
You'll get there. You'll get there one day. They've got to reboot it. They brought out a was it a film? They brought out a film a couple of years ago, didn't they, to reboot?
Have you watched it?
Haven't seen it yet. No,
It's brilliant.
I hear it's good. A lot of Easter eggs.
It doesn't take itself seriously. It takes the mick out of itself. It's got some great, what's his name? J.K. Simmons is in it. It's just like Roger Rabbit a little bit.
Oh, that would be up my street for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all in the real world, and this doesn't spoil it, but like Dale has he has the CGI operation.
Yeah.
So like what when he sees him, Chip is like still 2D, and Dale's like realistic looking chipmunk,
Oh wow.
but in a Hawaiian shirt. It's ridiculous. It's brilliant though. It's yeah, you gotta definitely watch it. I've watched it again recently, and with Fliss, and I was laughing. It's good, good film.
Oh, it's on the list for sure. I definitely got to watch it. A friend of mine, Phil, he said it's amazing, and he's a big Chip and Dale fan as well. So yeah, definitely on the list. Got to watch it. Great stuff. Right, award number 4. We're going into the nighttime, as mentioned. It's the favorite nighttime spectacular. What have we got for the favorite nighttime show?
I have a feeling we're going to pick the same thing here,
So do I.
and it's because this one had been gone for a while, and now it's back. Yeah, Fantasmic.
Yeah.
I hadn't done Fantasmic in a while anyway, but it was just brilliant. Fliss loved it. It wasn't too bad getting in and out of there. Actually, not as bad as I remember being younger. Although I did lose the family going to get the stroller, but that's another story. We found them on Sunset Boulevard, but yeah, just it's still great. And the new additions like Moana and things like that, that have been added since when it first came out. Yeah, it's and anywhere you sit in the amphitheater, you're gonna have a good view. I know you did the dining package, didn't you? But I mean, it's just great. I chuffed that because we were going to do it on the third night, and we a similar thing to you with Guardians, bit of sort of jet lag. Fliss was asleep, my wife was feeling a bit tired, so we decided to knock it on the head and push it back later into the trip. And I'm glad we squeezed it in because it was great. It was really good.
Yeah, and I certainly think the new additions like haven't taken anything away. It hasn't altered it in any sense. It's if anything gets added to it, I think it's still the, the number one nighttime show to go and see. It's not just a matter of projections and fireworks, which of course in all of the other nighttime spectaculars that you see over Walt Disney World are fantastic, world class performances. But there's just something extra magical about Phantasmic.
Yeah, and do you know what? I was listening to the Jim Cummins podcast the other day, which I highly recommend to people if they're Disney fans. They aren't aware who Jim Cummins is. He's the voice of Winnie the Pooh. He's the voice of Pete. He's the voice of lots of. Basically, if you're a '90s kid, he's the voice of your childhood. And even actually, here's a bit of trivia for you. Did the singing voice for Scar in The Lion King.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons apparently attempted it, but couldn't sing very well. And Disney at the time came out and said that he lost his voice, and half of it is him, and half of it is Jim Cummins doing an impression of Jeremy Irons singing. But Jim Cummins said in his podcast that just Jeremy Irons couldn't sing it. So they got Jim in to do it. Jim sang the whole thing, and apparently they put it back to Jeremy and said, "Here it is." And Jeremy goes, "Go, I sound good, don't I? I like that. Keep that." And they said, "Well, we're glad you said to keep it because it's not you, it's Jim Cummins." So that was on his podcast. That was brilliant. But yeah, they were saying on the podcast about how good they talked about the California one, but how good Fantasmic is and how much it actually blew away at the time when it was just water projections on, the projections on the water.
Yeah.
He was actually talking to the guy who voices Mickey Mouse now, Brett. Oh, I can't think of his name. He was saying that he's reenacted it on his front lawn with sprinklers.
Amazing.
But yeah, I mean that is so simple now, that sort of thing. But when you think about like the dragon and the fire and Mickey disappearing and appearing, and the end now, Steamboat Willie and the Steamboat Willie Mickey black and white at the top. I'm sure that's new. I'm sure that Steamboat Willie at the top of the boat is new. I don't remember being black and white.
I don't really remember it from years past. It's been so long now. Yeah. Yeah, it could well be. It is a great ending.
It is, yeah. You're guaranteed to sit through. If you've got tired legs,
Yeah.
you sit down. You're going to be sitting down for an hour because you're going to get in there half an hour early. You're going to be sitting waiting for the show. The show's about 20, 30 minutes. It's not too long, and yeah, it's a great show. So that for me is my favorite nighttime spectacular, and I knew it would be yours as well. And I did like the new Epcot. What was it called? Illuminations.
Luminous.
Luminous, sorry, yeah, Illuminations is the one that we wish they'd bring back. But then again, I don't know if I do. I think I want to see something new. But Luminous was better than Harmonious, in my opinion. But because Harmonious sort of took what they did with Phantasmic and just did it sort of similar in terms of the water thing. But I will say, Happily Ever After, the projections down Main Street weren't working. Because if they had been, that probably would have still picked Phantasmic for me.
As you mentioned, it's this the first time that we were able to experience Happily Ever After. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was everything that everyone had mentioned. The musical score that goes with it is fantastic. I can see why it's been brought back. The projections on the castle were great. Still a Wishes guy. I don't know if I can ever pip Wishes. I think Wishes is probably my favorite when it comes to MK. I liked the 50th fireworks. What was that called? Enchanted?
Uh, yeah,
Yeah, 50th anniversary fireworks, Disney Enchantment. It was great. Like Enchantment was great, and Happily Ever After was, I would certainly say, was better from a musical production. But I still hold on to Wishes. I think Wishes is fantastic.
yeah. Wishes was good. Wishes was good. I still wish they bring back um, Spectral Magic, not the Main Street Electrical Parade, Spectral Magic,
Yeah, I agree.
because for me the Main Street Electrical Parade was a Disneyland thing, and it just seemed a little bit sort of like Christmassy, tacky sort of. It's supposed to be, I guess, that way, but Spectral Magic has had this thing about it.
The musical score of Pet Spectro Magic was something else.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. But it just went. It went with it. It was in time of everything, and yeah. So I mean, the jury's out from it at the moment with that. I think Fantasmic wins because it's just yeah, it was just a brilliant show.
Moving on to the next award, we have favorite water park, and I'm pleased that we're able to do this because for the first time in many a year, we had the ability in March to go to both Disney water parks, which is just fantastic to be able to get into both.
Yeah, yeah, and we actually my winning park, which I think it might be the same for you, we actually did on the same day.
That's right.
For those listening, as I was walking out, Adam was walking in on his very first day of his trip, and my wife goes, "Oh, look, there's Adam." I would have missed you. I've got to be honest. You probably would have seen me. I was oblivious, but for me, hadn't done it in a while because we're always going in that sort of October time where Typhoon Lagoon's open. But for me, Blizzard Beach was my favorite water park this trip. I just think that it looked good. Like the whole closing it and the maintenance thing is working there.
It looked fresh, right? It did, didn't it?
It did look really
Yeah.
fresh. The crowd levels weren't too bad. It was great to ride Summit Plummet again. The family raft ride, I can't remember what they call it now. We took Fliss on. That was brilliant. She loved it. We love both water parks, to be honest with you, but for me, it was nice to get back to Blizzard Beach. And Rachel, my wife, even said that was her favourite water park. So, yeah, it's something different, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We were trying to work out when it was for us, and we still can't nail on the year that we went, but I'm sure it's near 10 years that we've set foot in Blizzard Beach, and like you said, it was great to see it. It certainly looked a lot more updated, not necessarily new attractions, but it just looked a lot more fresh. They certainly did a decent paint job on it to make it pop. We absolutely loved it. Penny absolutely loved Tykes Peak
Yeah.
with the frozen stuff. She thought that was great. Noah loved Tykes Peak as well in the sense that the water's great for a baby. There's not loads of it. It's obviously not there's no wave element to it in that sense as well. So he could splash about, which was fab.
Warm as well. I thought the water in
Really
Tykes
was
Peak
warm.
was warm.
It
Yeah.
was really warm. Yeah, it was a warm day as well, to be fair, when we saw each other.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
was the reason why we started our Disney trip in a water park because we were like, my goodness, we need to get used to this Floridian heat. Now sorely missed, unfortunately. But actually, my water park, my favorite water park, is Typhoon Lagoon this time.
Oh.
I know. I was when we went and when we came out of it, I was like, so good to be back. This is amazing, Blizzard Beach. It was great. The rides up there are fantastic, and I probably would have pipped it if it wasn't for us sitting down on the second time we went to Typhoon Lagoon, and first of all getting Dole Whip there, which was
Mhm.
a nice surprise. I completely forgot that they did Dole Whip in Typhoon Lagoon, so we stopped off at the Typhoon Tilly's kiosk and got ourselves some Dole Whip. And also the food we had for lunch there. We had some flatbreads at the main restaurant thing. The flatbreads in Typhoon Lagoon were incredible. Now I remember there being a time that both water parks had a significant amount of moans and groans from people saying that the food just isn't up to scratch.
Yeah,
They've really ramped up the different options that you can get for food and drinks, I think, in both water parks. But Typhoon's food was fantastic. And I also prefer their lazy river. I think Typhoon Lagoon's lazy river is a little bit better than Blizzard's, in my opinion.
totally agree with that. And actually, even the detail in Typhoon Lagoon, the edges of the River in Typhoon Lagoon are more like a natural rock formation,
Yeah,
whereas Blizzard Beach is just a smooth um, path.
yeah,
Like I haven't been to Volcano Bay. Volcano Bay looks the same, but Typhoon Lagoon had that extra detail, which it felt like a real, even though of course it's not, but it just that extra. Yeah, and the food has definitely improved there. I did have a dough of ice cream when I was there. I can't remember what I had, and I probably had some sort of. I probably had a hot dog actually at Typhoon Lagoon this time we went. Maybe
yeah,
I'm not sure, but yeah. Oh, interesting. I thought you were going to pick Blizzard because it's been 2015 was my last Blizzard Beach because we always go sort of October time. So
yeah.
yeah, it was. That's why it's on for me. The pick.
I think I could easily have gone for both, like either, and honestly, I could have gone for both in the sense that we finally were able to enjoy both in one trip. It was a pleasant surprise, and actually would probably be a consideration of next time we go. To be honest, when planning, I would like to go back there and be able to enjoy both water parks again. So yeah, maybe March is the time to go back. Although I'm not sure about those spring break crowds either.
Yeah. Yeah. I think your first week, our second week wasn't so bad,
Yeah,
um, but our first week was quite busy. Um, but comes with it, I guess. It's never quiet in Disney now.
that's very true.
Not like it used to be, anyway.
No, no, we got very lucky in that week. Right, next award for this episode. We've gone through the water park. Now we're going for, which for me is probably the hardest category alongside the ride. It's the favorite overall park. Did one of them stand out for you?
I'm just going to say it's always Magic Kingdom for me
Yeah.
every single time.
Is it to do with the vast number of attractions, characters? Is that what tips it for you, or is there something specific about the place that makes it number one?
I mean, they all hold nostalgia for me, but that's got the most nostalgia, I guess. It's just you just think of Disney, that's it, And I mean, we must have done Magic Kingdom in a day about 4 times, and then go back in the evening. But the sheer volume of rides, maybe, yeah. It it's just the way you feel when you're there. I can't describe it. No other theme park in the world has managed to do this. There is a feeling when you're in Magic Kingdom. that- They're just Main Street. When you're in one of the themed areas, it's just nothing like it. I don't feel like I'm in an amusement park. I literally just feel like I'm at a different world, and I think we had some great character interactions there with Rapunzel and Tiana and Ariel and Chip and Dale and Stitch, and of course there's Space Mountain and Thunder Mountain, the carousel. I've got trying to get the sword out of the stone. Even did the teacups this time. Handled the teacups since I was a kid. Um, the People Mover. Um, Mickey's Full of Magic, Peter Pan, Small World, Haunted Mansion. I could go on, and I only even mentioned Splash Mountain because that's my favorite ride of all time. But I mean, it's going to be a different ride now, which I can't wait to ride that. I think this new change is great, but I've just reeled off, a fraction of what makes Magic Kingdom is, and food wise, the cheeseburger spring rolls, going to Citrus, the Orange Bird and having a citrus swirl there. Um, Casey's Corner, always get hot corn dog nuggets from Casey's Corner, and even like I like to just when I'm walking back out the park, it's like right after Casey's, walk into the shop and let's walk through the shops and just have a slow, chilled out browse through, and then back to your resort or jump on the monorail and go resort hopping. It's just there's something about Magic Kingdom, and as much as I love Epcot. for me, Epcot even pips um, MGM or anything else. I love Epcot, but for me, Magic Kingdom just has that something different. It's a first day every single trip, and it's the last day of a single trip. It's now become as well the last evening, the last few trips for whatever nighttime spectacular they've got. It's for me, it's pinnacle Disney. It's if I said to you Disney World, you're going to think of the castle or Mickey Mouse. You know, I know we had a great interaction with Mickey there. So for me, Magic Kingdom. I don't think I need to sort of go into any more than that. I think I've just literally reeled off uh, many reasons.
Yeah. It is. It's like it's again a bit like we mentioned about the nighttime spectacular. It's the poster boy, isn't it, for Walt Disney World? Seeing the castle, seeing the attractions. Whenever you look at the marketing, the majority of the marketing is surrounding Magic Kingdom, and for good reason. There's so much for any age to enjoy there, any sort of interest, any IP, any characters. There's such a vast array, whereas you don't get that sort of variety in the other Disney parks and the other Disney resorts. I find it's the feeling that you get that you mentioned when you walk into Magic Kingdom, as much as Magic Kingdom may not necessarily be everyone's favorite park, that feeling I don't think is replicated in every park. I mean, there's something about walking down Main Street and you're walking towards Cinderella Castle that really gets you in the feels, and there's a good reason why you would bookend a trip with Magic Kingdom, because it's just
Yeah.
a fabulous way to start and it's a fabulous way to end.
Well, every time you see that castle, I've been going 35 years now. It takes me back every time. Every time I walk around the corner, I go, Phew, is it really that big? I don't remember it being that big. It just every time there's something about it. It's very unique. It's very strange to walk around that corner and see this like sort of charming sort of American sort of street, and then there's a big fairy tale castle at the end of it. It's just,
Yeah.
and I always like to come in through one side, stick to one side, so that we turn the corner and go in, and then you see it. Um, but yeah, it's every time that money shot seems to impress me anyway. So they've got me hook, line, and sinker. But what was your overall part, mate?
Loz's was the same. She said Magic Kingdom, and it certainly would have been for Penny as well, just for the character interactions and the rides. My favorite, it just pips Magic Kingdom this time, and it changes. It honestly, it changes every time. I think in 2022 we mentioned in episodes past that Lauren and my favorite park in 22 was Animal Kingdom, just because it was chilled for the age of Penny, the immersion that you have in Animal Kingdom, the animals. We're a big animal family. It's a fantastic park, and it is a fantastic park still. Transition is coming for it for sure, with the new elements that I'm sure in podcast down the line we will be discussing. For me this year, March 2024, and I'm so glad it's again starting to come to its former glory, but with more new additions and more exciting attractions, is Epcot. I thought it was fantastic this time, mainly because of new experiences such as the Moana Way of Water. I thought for a family, certainly for a young daughter who is obsessed with all things Moana, that just for her that was such an experience, and for us as well. The technology behind the place is fantastic. I know we mentioned it on your Brits guide that it was also one of the favorite attractions for you, and I know that once we finally get through all of the construction at that central hub area of Epcot, it's just going to be as fantastic as it ever was, if not better. I think it's an incredible park. There's so much to see and do there for so many ages. Soarin' will always be one of my favorite rides. It's a shame I couldn't get back to see Soaring over California. We missed it by, I think it was a number of weeks, which was a shame. I get the negativity towards the bent Eiffel Tower on soaring across the world. Luckily, we were quite central, so we had a nice straight tower. But yeah, I just love it. I just love Epcot, and we were there for the Flower and Garden Festival, which is festival we've only been to once before, so it was nice to go back and return to see that. It was great. It was absolutely fantastic. But it could well have been Magic Kingdom. That was very much a close second.
Yeah, you don't have to convince me. I love Epcot. I do love Epcot for all the reasons you just said. The Moana thing is brilliant. The showcase, um, yeah, I get why you chose Epcot. I'm actually happy you did choose Epcot, to be honest with you. I think a lot of people overlook Epcot and say, "Oh, do I need like a half day?" And it's like, yeah, I mean, I did. We missed at least 3 days in Epcot when we went.
Yeah, we did three. There's so much to do. I mean, from Penny's perspective, and the sort of the comments I get from casual Disney fans, or a friend of mine actually is planning to go this year, and he's umming and ahhing of whether he should go to Epcot or spend a significant time there. And he said, "Do you know what? It's just a little bit educational. This is what I've heard. It's a bit educational. I don't know if it's going to really attract my." He has a 6-year-old daughter, and you just reel off like Way of Water with Moana. You've got the Frozen ride. For any 6-year-old Disney fan is going to absolutely adore that Frozen ride. We had a character breakfast at is it Akershus or Aker's house in Norway, the princesses. We did that for Penny's birthday. It was fantastic. Certainly recommended for any Disney princess fan. Living with the land. If you've got kiddos, especially youngsters, Noah loves a boat ride, and Living with the Land. The Grand Fiesta Tour, if you're a Donald fan, the Grand Fiesta Tour, we went on that multiple times. I think we topped out at 8 times. That first week when it was really quiet, we just kept going and going. Penny loves it. Noah just loved the lights and the songs. We just kept going round it. Thankfully, we did, because the second week it was rammed, and Disney is busy when Grand Fiesta Tour has a huge queue. That's outside the Mexican Pavilion, but that was the reality of our second week.
Mm,
But it's just that it is a theme park for everyone, and topped off with a great nighttime spectacular with Luminous as well.
yeah, and do you know what? I'm actually surprised you didn't mention the Living Seas because that's for me. I love just going. I mean, the Nemo ride that they put in there in recent years, adding in Nemo, is quite clever. But just walking around and seeing all the fish, like that's great for a young kid or any kids of any ages.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. And yeah, we certainly waste a bit of time in there keeping cool.
Oh, the aircon in there certainly needed.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It definitely was this trip, although it is most times a year, to be fair.
Excellent. Yeah. Yeah. It's something that I would recommend to anyone. If anyone's umming and ahhing, and we're pretty lucky over here with our UK offerings of tickets and park hopping in comparison to some of the prices you could see on the gate for park hopping, which I couldn't believe. But if you do have to choose, then certainly don't overlook Epcot. There's plenty going on there. The beacons of light as well that they've got on the Spaceship Earth now. I mean,
Yeah.
when we saw that in 2022, it's like, why haven't we been lighting up Spaceship Earth all these years? And it was the same this time. We spent a good amount of time just staring at that on the way out. It's fantastic.
It is. You get that little show as well
Yeah.
that they do, that little 5 minute show. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
And I can't end talking about Epcot without saying close favorite character interaction that nearly pipped Chip and Dale, but just didn't for us, was Figment. I know he's 7 foot tall, and and the Figment we know is a lot smaller than that, but he was fab.
I love Figment, and that is another one where I would have been. We just didn't get the time to do it, and I really wanted to see Figment. I had spoke to my mum about it the other day and said, "Where's my Figment and my Figment puppet from when I was like 3 that you got for me?" And she was like, "Oh, I don't know, I'll probably phone away." I'm like, "You do realise that Figment is massive. What have you done? Where is it?" Like this, literally, these had Walt Disney World logos on the label before it went to Disney World. Now, then Disney Parks. I think it's just Disney now. It's just mass produced.
Yeah.
Yeah, these. I hope they're somewhere in my parents' attic, or
Oh,
I
definitely.
hope so. But yeah, I love Figment. So really wanted to see Figment. We did go past it a couple of times. We went during Imagination. We just were there at the wrong times.
Yeah.
So yeah, we missed him. But do you have to queue? long for him.
No, it wasn't a big queue. It wasn't a big queue, but I like you said, I think he's only rotating every like 20 minutes or so, and then popping out and having a fairly significant break, and then coming back. So there would be chances where he's not there. And Joy as well, who also was in that pavilion, she was intermittent as well.
Yeah.
Next time, it's always next time.
Oh, it's on the list. It's on the list.
Okay, moving on to the next award, we've got favorite meal. So much to choose from in Walt Disney World. What was the best thing you had?
Yeah. Now, we did some very good dining on this trip. We always do. I'm going to give some honourable mentions just because I feel they need to be mentioned. Went to is it Shikishai in Japan Pavilion? We had a window overlooking um, the lagoon. We could see Spaceship Earth flying up. That was brilliant. I had eel. I went tried some new foods. That was really good. Tried some sake. That was the staff in there fantastic. Cast members. Um, and went back to Cape May again because I love Cape May. Cape May is great in the evening if you like seafood. But my favourite meal, and it's been my favourite place to eat for the last few trips, is Boma in Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Had a feeling you might say that.
Yeah, that beef. If anyone's listening and they've heard about Boma or they don't know anything about Boma, it's an all you care to enjoy, as Disney say, aka eat as much as you want. And it's sort of African themed, like meats. There is a lot of veg. There's a lot of different types of food. There's some nice curries and some nice rice dishes, and you go up and it's sort of help yourself. But the beef there is unbelievable. They give you usually two slices, and I went up this time. I've never done it before, and I was like, "Can I have four slices, please?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "Good." And the guy behind me is like, "Yeah, I want four slices. This beef is really good." It's still I mean, it's fantastic beef. I first went there. I think it must have been like 2015. It's still as good as it was. And even when we went that time, my folks were like, "You've got to come to this place, Bowman." It's just brilliant. I think I had about six plates of food. All the desserts are great. So for me, Boma, but it's not just the food; it's the overall experience. You go to Animal Kingdom Lodge, you can see the animals. We always go and have a look around the resort. Resort's a beautiful resort. The animals are great. You can do the night vision goggles. Didn't do it this time, but have done in the past. The night vision goggles to view the animals out there. But we saw giraffes, we saw zebras, we saw it might be wildebeest or something. I'm not sure, but we saw a good few. Of course, the flamingos were out as well.
Amazing.
So it's the overall experience of that as well. There was a close second I haven't mentioned yet, but that's going to come. That's going to be mentioned in another category. So I'll leave that. But yeah, for me, Boma.
Perfect. Yeah, it's a place I haven't been to yet, but certainly from your recommendation and recommendations from others, it will be on the list for the future for sure. How did Fliss get on a place like that? Was there good options for youngsters as well?
I mean, Fliss eats. She's the human dustbin. She eats everything
That helps.
and doesn't stop eating. If I'm honest, she told me she was hungry about an hour after a Sunday dinner where she had crumble and ice cream, two helpings. But yeah, she's a bit of a gallop, let's say. But yeah, there's always a kid friendly option. You've got your chips, you've got your chicken nuggets. There's some things like that there, and the desserts are pretty good as well as cookies and things. So yeah, there are kids versions there. I will say the green beans there. They do some of their green beans and like salt and garlic.
Oh, nice.
Like it's unbelievable, like really nice. So if you're trying to get your kids to eat greens, that might be a good way to try them on it
Yeah.
because they like them then. It's great, but yeah, it's for the kids. You get the generic sort of. I don't know if they had mac and cheese, but the generic sort of Disney like, oh, yeah, it's just a kids meal sort of thing on hand. And if they're more adventurous, then there's a lot more for them to try.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, sounds good. Definitely on the trip in the future for us for sure. Our favorite meal, our side. It's a little bit of an interesting one actually. We didn't tend to go to too many sit down restaurants. We actually went to two character dinings. I mentioned the Princess Dining in Epcot, and we also went to Hollywood and Vine. and we did the Disney Junior breakfast. That was part of the Fantasmic package, as mentioned. Certainly would recommend that as part of anyone considering a Fantasmic dining package, because it's a little bit more affordable than it would be to do the lunch or the dinner. And the breakfast that we had just had such a variety that it's fantastic. And the food was hot, it was frequently changed, the character interactions there were great. We were able to see a lot of the Disney Junior characters, but also Goofy was there as well for OGs like ourselves. That was probably the close second for us, and certainly an honourable mention. But our favourite meal actually turns out to be a place which I've heard a lot of negativity about over the years, and we've actually had some mediocre meals in the chain that I'm going to mention. But our favourite meal this time ended up being at the Rainforest Cafe. The Rainforest Cafe in Animal Kingdom specifically. Now, we've been to the Rainforest Cafe in Disney Springs multiple times, and I get it. It's a chain restaurant, it's a very busy restaurant. The theming of the place for families is fantastic. That's why there's such a pull to people. Again, animatronic animals around. You're eating in a rainforest. There's thunder and lightning intermittently, which is great. There's a lot of variety for kids. There's souvenir mugs and all of that good stuff you get with a chain restaurant. But the food quality has been called into question in the past, and we've had a couple of meals that I remember one time we went to the Rainforest Cafe in Disneyland Paris. We waited near 2 hours for it, and the food was mediocre when it came out. Unfortunately, we had to ask for them to take it back because it was cold. Not what you want after waiting 2 hours for a meal. But there's something about the Animal Kingdom Rainforest Cafe. We've been there, I think, 2 or 3 times over the years, and the staff are always great there. It's not as busy to get a reservation. The food quality is excellent. I had the coconut shrimp, or it was a trio of shrimp actually, but the coconut shrimp will always stand out for me. It was incredible. That everyone finished their plates, which is always a good sign of a great meal. And also, obviously, you are connected to Animal Kingdom, so you can go straight in through a specific entrance to the park, or an exit if you're coming out. It's a great place. It's a great spot to try if the dining options in Animal Kingdom, and there's some fantastic dining options in Animal Kingdom, but if they are too busy, or you're looking for an alternative, or if you're on your way out and you haven't really got time to get somewhere and get some food, check out the Rainforest Cafe in Animal Kingdom.
Do you know what? We were looking for somewhere to eat in Animal Kingdom and couldn't get in. I wanted to go to Yak and Yeti, and that was complete because I've heard that Yak and Yeti is fantastic. That was completely booked up when we were there because on a whim, I was trying to get in there. And we just got some quick service stuff in the end, which is great. But I didn't think actually to go out and do rainforest because we were going to eat and then go.
Yeah.
So why didn't we just do that anyway? So yeah, rainforest. I've heard a lot of people say that rainforest is a lot better, and they refer to it as the secret entrance.
Yeah.
And doing the bunny ears for anyone who can't see, or quotations, but yeah, the secret entrance, and yeah, I've heard very good things about it. Actually, I know people have in the past, like you say the food quality wasn't as good, but for me, I mean, I've never actually done the Rainforest Cafe in Disney Springs or Animal Kingdom. Done it in the UK,
Oh, okay.
in London, but not. So if I've got nothing to really base it off, I've never done T Rex either. So yeah, I'm kind of. I'd have to take people's recommendations, but I've heard similar things to what you've been saying that people have moaned about it and said it's not that great. Um, but yeah, it's good to hear.
Will it ever be for food quality itself? Will it ever be top of the shop? Will it ever be 5 star plus? Probably not every time, and you will get inconsistent meals if you do go there repeatedly. But for some reason this time, Loz had a steak and shrimp combo. I had the trio of shrimp. Penny had a fab children's meal, which she loved, and she's a little bit fussy when it comes to food. And if she finishes a plate, then she's really enjoyed it. Yeah, it's certainly better quality food in that one for whatever reason than what we've had at Disney Springs, and the added bonus of it being connected to Animal Kingdom. Just it pipped it for us. It was a great meal, and actually it turned out to be a fantastic evening as well. So yeah, that one tops the favorite meal award for us, our side. Sticking with food, or potentially beverages. Favorite snack that you had in March 2024? So
Oh.
many, so many.
Now, I'm a Disney foodie and I'm a sucker for these snacks. Gotta be honest, from the Dole Whips to the Mickey ice creams to the cheeseburger spring rolls to the, as we mentioned, the corn dog nuggets. I don't really think it's a snack, and this isn't the one, but I also tried the nachos at Polynesian this time.
Oh yeah,
They were pretty good. I'm not a big fan of pineapple. A bit of pineapple in there, but they were pretty good.
interesting.
Whether that's whether that's a snack though is because it's quite big. It's more like a meal, like a quick service meal. But I'm going to be, and people are going to think it's maybe a boring thing to say, but for me, it's those Mickey waffles. There's just something about those Mickey waffles. They just taste phenomenal. First day we had them for breakfast. So we had the bigger one from Sleepy Hollow, which my wife Rachel says they taste different to the smaller ones you get. I think it's because the smaller ones are thicker,
Oh, okay.
they're fatter, so you get a bit more soft and fluffy. But I had a big one from Sleepy Hollow, and I just got, I think it might have been 2 cups of syrup, poured all over there, sat there in the sun looking at the castle, and I was like, yeah, there we go. This is the start of the trip. So for me, those Mickey waffles, they're my favorite snack always.
You can't go on a Walt Disney World trip without having a Mickey shaped food item of some sort.
Oh yeah,
It's got to be done, whether it's the Mickey bar, whether it's a Mickey waffle, and Martin, if it was me and we had a category for Mickey shaped items, I think a Mickey waffle would probably top mine as well. To be fair,
yeah, it just tastes so good. It's the best waffle I ever tasted, and it's not because it's shaped like Mickey. It's the mixture they use, but the Mickey shape, um, obviously, is the cherry on top.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Hey, it's a traditional Disney snack, and I'm sure it tops plenty of person's lists for sure. Favorite snack outside, heading into Harambe in Animal Kingdom, sticking at Animal Kingdom. Tammy Tammy Refreshments just on the corner there,
yeah,
which surprisingly never really has a large queue. I don't know if it's because it's sort of tucked away there in the corner, but we've never had a problem with getting anything in Tammy Tammy. But they had a Dole Whip float, which I checked before we went on air. It's still available. The Dole Whip float was pineapple Dole Whip. It was with Fanta orange and had strawberry syrup on top. Hands down, the best Dole Whip combination that we have tried this trip or any. I thought it was so refreshing. It was like everyone knows the heat of Animal Kingdom. It was a hot Animal Kingdom day. We got ourselves one of these Dole Whip floats. We sat down and listened to the vibrant sounds of Harambe, and Penny had a dance to the music that was going on. It was a fab moment, and we went back a few times to get that Dole Whip float. It was fantastic. I definitely recommend it. So refreshing.
See, I did see that. I'm more of a citrus fan than the pineapple one, so I did see that and thought, ooh. But it's funny that you mentioned that because my favourite one is still there in Magic Kingdom at Sunshine Terrace is the Lava You float, which is
Yes.
orange serve, strawberry Fanta, and strawberry sauce. It was quite interesting how yours was the pineapple with the orange Fanta and the sauce. Yeah, but yeah, so I should try that maybe actually. So I did see it when I got a coffee from there.
Yeah, it'd be intriguing to see what the different flavor combinations is like there, whether it's similar or slightly different. Yeah, I would recommend it. I haven't tried that one in Magic Kingdom. I have to go and try that one as well.
Oh, it's got popping candy on top as well.
Yeah, I saw that on the advert. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. I think every time I go, I take a picture of it before I eat it. I think this time I might have even started. I was like, oh, I got to take a picture. Don't know why. I've got one in the archive that I could just use and just say, oh, yeah, had this again. Um, but yeah, that's definitely one to try. Lava You float.
I think you can't go wrong with Dole Whip. You can't go on a Walt Disney World trip without Dole Whip. Well, I didn't for so many years, and then once I sampled it once, it was like, no, this has to happen every time. A bit like a Mickey shaped snack as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a staple.
Great stuff. Favorite snacks done. I'm getting hungry, and it's pretty late here, but I could certainly go with a Disney snack right now as well. To be fair, I suppose it's because it's quite hot, and we've been at the beach finally for for a couple of days over the weekend. I could certainly do with Dole Whip.
Oh yeah.
Next category, we have favorite new experience. There's a lot new, and there's a lot that we haven't experienced in trips past. Ever evolving Walt Disney World. What was the favorite new thing that you tried? in March 2024?
So my favorite new experience is something that I tried to get last time we went and didn't get it. So it was new to us this trip, and it was breakfast at Topolino's Terrace.
Yes.
It's probably the best breakfast I've ever had in my entire life. It was, first of all, the characters were great. So you got Mickey, Daisy, Donald, and Minnie. The atmosphere is great in there. The characters sort of dance around. They spend good time with you when they come to the table. We had a nice sort of table looking over the terrace. We could see out, out the window. Our waitress was fantastic, really good. So much that she had, when she was coming to take our order, we were ordering coffee and went through the food, and Mickey had his back to us. She said, "Right, Mickey's going to turn around, so I'm going to come back. I'll go get the coffee. I'll come back with the coffee, and then we'll continue the order," which I thought was brilliant, because you go to a lot of places, they just continue to try and take your order, and then Mickey might move on to the next table.
Yeah.
So actually, Mickey came over then and was like, and did that, and that was brilliant interaction, and Felicity loved it. And then she also at the end, I'll talk about the food in a minute, but she also at the end, when we were sat there and looked like we had finished, she came over and said, "Are you, so before I give you the bill, have you seen all four characters today?" And I said, "Yes." She goes, "Good, because if you hadn't, then I wouldn't be giving you the bill right now. You'd be waiting until you saw whoever you hadn't seen."
Awesome.
And we just keep things going. So that was good. I thought it was very, very good. And I did actually tip her quite well for that, because she was brilliant. But the food we had was just, I mean, Fliss is under 3, and everyone knows under 3s at like the buffet restaurants, they sort of eat for free.
Yeah.
And it's not cheap to have these character breakfasts and character dinners. It's not. Topolino's is no exception. It's not cheap. However, the quality of food is a lot higher.
Yeah.
So for me, it was 110% worth it. Now, we did pay for Fliss to have a meal, because in Topolino's, it's not a buffet. It's order off the menu, a la carte. And she can have off my plate if she wants, or Rachel's plate. But me and Rachel ordered the steak.
Right.
We wanted to try the breakfast steak. We wanted to get the best value for our money, basically. And we decided that Fliss isn't probably going to have that off us. So we said, you know what, we're going to order her. So he had Mickey waffles, bacon, egg. Comes in that as palette, very well presented. But first of all, they bring out this bucket full of croissants and muffins, and it's like crumbly cake, which is just, I love it. It's brilliant. There were 6 of them in there, like 2 of each variant. And then we ordered the steak, and with the steak, I had poached eggs. It comes with potatoes, mushrooms. It's a breakfast steak. It's quite weird for breakfast, but it does work. Trust me. But it also comes then with a side of a waffle. I had the sour cream waffle. I could have had a Mickey waffle. I said, "Oh, that's something different."
Yeah.
Because I knew Fliss was having Mickey waffles with hers, and she's not a massive fan, so I could eat one of her waffles. Strategic thinking there for me. But also, like, I thought this sour cream waffle sounds good. It was unbelievable. It was absolutely unbelievable. It came with the cream on top. You had a pot for pouring syrup over there. I think the steak came with some sort of like steak sauce as well, but it wasn't like you were having an evening steak. It was like I actually felt like I was having a breakfast steak. Poached eggs came in a different pot. The coffee was, of course, Joffrey's extra. So usually when you go to these buffets, you just pay for your food and you get the drinks included. But to be honest with you, I was paying for pressed coffee. They literally brought the press to the table.
Oh, okay.
Sat it down. She went, "Give that a minute or two." She said, "Give it 2 minutes or so. We've not long put it in there, then press it." So it was just like, and it's quite fancy in there. Like I said, the characters are great. There was one moment that stood out for me that actually wasn't anything to do with my family. When the characters, every now and then, they get up the dance, and they're dancing around, and the cast members are like, "Oh, everyone stop where you are, let the characters run." So stopping the kids from walking, because the characters are swinging their arms around, they're going to hit somebody, knock them over. This one little girl had walked over to see the window. This had started, and then couldn't see, obviously, get back to her mum. They went, "Oh, 2 minutes." She started crying. At that moment, Minnie turned around, dropped to her knees, and gave her the biggest hug. Like, ran up to her and gave her the biggest hug. And it was just like, that's what it's all about. And this girl was fine. And then Minnie took over the table and then rejoined the dance in sort of what it was. And yeah, the whole experience, the food. I think I was showing you the pictures of the food.
Oh, it looks
It was,
fantastic.
yeah, it was. You can go sometimes to these buffet restaurants like your Chef Mickey's, and I'm going to single out Chef Mickey's actually because I do love Chef Mickey's, but it's not, the food isn't, fine cuisine, but you're paying through the nose
Hmm.
to have this experience with Donald, Mickey, Goofy. Well, for a similar price, you can go to Topolino's. I think it's about $10 more each per person, which is still quite a bit. However, the food was just, I had quality food. It was really really nice, and it's not a buffet, but because of the breads and things included, the breads were just included, and you had that side included with your main. We were stuffed, if I'm honest, and I'm not often stuffed. So yeah, it was, for
Yeah,
me, that was our new experience that I thought was a standout moment for us, and I would do it again.
awesome. Yeah, a lot of people that I've seen online who have gone there have said, hands down, best character meal that's on property at the minute. Definitely have to check it out at some point.
Yeah, it's not cheap. It's not cheap. Um, but sometimes you just think to yourself, the experience, I won't forget it.
Yeah,
I won't forget it. I mean, not doing it every day, and you manage your budget how, what you think is the best way to do it. And that was definitely from the beginning. That was in our budget. It was like, right, we're going to do Topolino's. We're going to do it, and I was not disappointed. I left pleasantly satisfied, more than satisfied. It exceeded my expectations. And then we got hopped on the Skyliner, when I went Anna and Elsa, and that again in itself, I mentioned it earlier, that was sort of a standout moment. But for me, a new experience was definitely Topolino's.
yeah, awesome. Definitely something on the list for us next time for sure, and just to see the Riviera for the first time as well because we haven't been over there, and I'd like to go and have a nose.
Oh, if you're not,
No,
take your mug. They've got the new drinks machines there that have got like, you can have like this like 10 different Powerades, and
oh
there's,
really?
oh yeah, they got those. Yeah, yeah, they're really good. The little canteen there's quite, or the sort of quick service place is quite good. Definitely worth.
Hopefully they start coming to other DVC resorts. Modernize the drinks a little bit.
Yeah,
Although I got to admit, I'm strictly when I get those mugs, it's either Joffrey's or root beer. That's my two. That's my two go tos.
Joffrey's or orange Fanta for me because I
Yeah,
love American Fanta. But yeah,
yeah. Oh, it hits different over there for sure.
yeah, it does. It's different. It is different, to be fair.
It is 100%. It is. My new experience is something which isn't particularly new, but I've not been able to get anywhere near it for the past few trips that we've been over. We mentioned it on our planning episode. That was something that I definitely had on the list that I had to do. And on the last Animal Kingdom day in the evening, I just about made it, which over the moon to be able to do it. And I finally got on Flight of Passage. It is an incredible ride, isn't it?
Yeah,
Avatar its it has its critics for sure. I've certainly seen that with the second movie, and I guess due to the length of time it's been from maybe movie one and movie two, but that ride and just the experience on that is exactly how you described it when we mentioned it on the planning episode. It is fantastic. It really does feel that you are riding on something, and just the scenes that you go through, simply it's soaring on acid. It really is. It's such an incredible ride. I can't believe it's taken so long for me to get on it, and it will be something that I will go on every trip going forward for sure.
yeah. What a ride! I totally agree. It's even that the little details, like my friend actually who rode it not long after they opened up Pandora, and said, "You're on the back of the Banshee and it's breathing." I said, "What do you mean it's breathing?" He goes, "You can feel it breathing." And I was like, "What is he talking about?" And then when you go on it and you can feel it. It's just, yeah, it's a very clever ride. I'm not a massive soaring fan because of the dangling legs thing. You don't get that with Flight of Passage. So, yeah, and if you're in the middle of the screen, you get a great experience. You still get a great experience on the edge, but in the middle, you really get that sort of panoramic sort of view. Um, And yeah, good choice, very good choice.
It was fantastic. That final scene. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't been on it, but that final scene when it fully opens,
Mm.
just people who haven't ridden it, you wait for that. It's just incredible. It was a like mouth open ride from start to finish. I just couldn't believe how good it was. It was so close to being my favorite ride, but I think if it wasn't for just the sheer obsession with Star Wars, it may have pipped it, but certainly my favorite new experience out there. And there were plenty of them for sure. The Moana Way of Water would have been a close one as well. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, actually, that was great. It didn't cross my mind that when thinking about this, but yeah, Way of Water. And for those people who say it doesn't belong in Epcot, to be honest with you, I did think a similar thing. We were on the monorail going past when they were building it, and the walls up. I was thinking, what? Why is this here? It feels like it should be an Animal Kingdom, but the technology behind the way it works is so Epcot.
Yeah, it really is.
It's just got the aesthetics of Animal Kingdom in a way. In a way. Um, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see what else they bring. Oh, I will say one thing actually. Love that Walt thinking. Um,
Yes.
Hardly anybody was queuing up to do that. Like that
Yeah, we walked to it.
blows
Yeah.
my mind. Blows my mind. I sat on that the first day and had a photo, and yeah, love that.
Yeah, great new addition to the new central hub of Epcot for sure. Yeah. And a great little photo spot. There are plenty of cool photo spots in Epcot.
Definitely, yeah, yeah.
Great stuff. We made it to the last one, last award of the evening. And this one's a little bit different. This award is for the the magic moment, the standout moment from your trip. It could be, an interaction with a cast member. It could be a character interaction. It could be a feeling on a ride, which, as I mentioned with a flight of passage, that was certainly a magic moment. Anything that really stood out for you that you were like, this is a Walt Disney trip. This made it for us.
Yeah, I've mentioned it a couple of times tonight, but after we went to Topolino's, we went to Epcot and decided on a whim to go see Anna and Elsa. And my daughter Fliss was just, up to that point, we hadn't seen it yet. She just was completely starstruck. Her arms fell down to her side like they were lifeless, like this flapping limbs, and she just stood there with a vacant look on her face. And Elsa was talking to her and brought her over, and she just stood there and looked at her. And then we went smile, and she smiled, and it was like she'd forgotten how to smile. She gurned. See, like she's in a gurning contest. She went, and like she just completely lost all her functions. It was we were sitting there or standing there just thinking. I remember thinking to myself, like, this is it. She believes that's the real Elsa, and this is exactly what it's about. And Rach just went, she's just completely starstruck. And I went, yeah, she is. And then, of course, we moved on to Anna. And I didn't know this actually. All the years I've been going. If you hug a character, they're not allowed to let go until you let go.
Yeah.
If it's a child. Well, when she hugged Anna, they were hugging, and it's not an exaggeration. It was probably over a minute, maybe close to two,
Oh, bless her.
to the point that Anna was going, oh, and Anna was nearly in tears. She was just had her head on Anna like that, and she just lost all sort of. She just, it was just a magical moment, um, and it's there are many, and there are many stand-up moments from. I could pick one every day. I could pick multiple every day. I said to, I might have said to you, you get more moments in that first day of your trip than you would get in months and months and months going on holiday anywhere else or going being at home. You might not even see that have those many moments in a year with your child. There's just something about it. It's just maybe it's the IP. I don't know. I really don't know. But the IP on this occasion was the stand-up moment, that the Anna and Elsa interaction, which later we had a similar sort of response with Mirabelle as well. But yeah, it was just magical. That's the only way I can describe it. It was magical, and and a little bit hilarious as well. When we think back to it, her face was very funny, and the memory maker photo pass photos are quite funny as well because she just looks completely vacant. So they'll be coming out on her 18th birthday to
Absolutely.
embarrass her. But yeah, for me, that's the moment. Meeting Anna and Elsa. So that's a good day actually. That Topolino's day, going from that
Yeah.
to Anna and Elsa. Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds like the perfect marketing tool for a Walt Disney World holiday for anyone who's considering it. That nails it on the head, doesn't it? As
yeah,
far as Disney's concerned, that's what it's all about.
absolutely.
Penny had the similar sort of interactions with a few people, Moana being one of them, where she just sort of looked at and was like, "Cannot believe I'm meeting the person who I've been watching on multiple occasions over on Disney Plus."
Yeah,
Certainly that same sort of reaction.
we had that with Moana actually, and that was the second day. However, with Moana, Fliss had sunglasses on because outside,
Yeah.
and just sort of smiled like is this really Moana? And like let her, and Moana talked at her, And but with Anna and Elsa, her whole face just kind of just went into this weird sort of like, I can't even describe it. It's just kind of like just looking at her. So, but it's great.
Just completely starstruck. The magic's hit.
Yeah,
Job done, Walt Disney World.
yeah. And the guys, the guys and girls that play these characters are brilliant. They are
Oh,
brilliant.
they're fantastic. They really are the magic. It's cliche. You hear it all the time, but without them, it's like you said. It turns into another theme park if you don't have that sort of magic.
Yeah, those new adverts on TV that have suddenly come on the last few weeks. I mean, I don't really watch TV. I've seen them. I've seen them. I was at my mum's house the other day, and I actually saw one come up as the TV was on. And I was like, that advert is so true
Yeah, it is.
to what those little Disney magic moments. It's yeah. What was yours? Come on, what's the standout moment for you?
Standout. There's many, and a lot of them could have been character meet and greets for sure. The one that really stands out for me, the one that we're going to think about when we think about this trip, it's again an Animal Kingdom, um, and it was our final night in Animal Kingdom. It was after we went to Rainforest Cafe. After I did Flight of Passage, I did it on my own. Flight of Passage, Loz isn't a fan of going on those sort of rides on her own, and we would have to have rider swapped with the two kiddos. So she said, "Meet me in Dino Land. We'll go on Triceratops Spin." So went on to Flight Passage. We had a little bit more time in Animal Kingdom before it shut down. So we headed over to Dino Land. I turned the corner into Dino Land, and no joke, I saw Loz, Penny, and Noah, and barely another soul in Dino Land. And we jumped onto Triceratops Spin, and we sat on that ride for 3 or 4 rotations. Penny was the only person when we got off in the middle of that carnival setting area and was just having a little dance to the music. It was, I think it was the second to last night of the trip, and just watching that and being able to close down Animal Kingdom and of course Dino Land, which we're huge dinosaur fans in this house. Penny loved that land in 22. Noah loved all of the lights and music in Chester and Hester's, and knowing that it's not going to be there probably when we go again, it was a perfect night to just be as a family in Walt Disney World and look around and think like, yeah, this is what it's all been about. This is a great way to cap off one of our final evenings of a trip. It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome, and some of the pictures and videos we got of that last night was fantastic. And again, will probably be looked upon for years to come for sure.
Yeah, it's funny that you say there was hardly anyone in Dinoland when we were there, actually, as well. Um, I do think it's time for it to go, if I'm honest.
It is time.
Looks quite. They've let it run down. They've taken the coaster out. Obviously, the
Yeah,
what was that called?
Primeval Well.
Primeval Worlds.
Yeah,
I couldn't think what it's called. And I went on the dinosaur ride for the first time in a while, and that was great to get back on it and experience it. But it does need an overhaul. But from what you've just described as well, like, what a nice sort of closure moment.
yeah,
If it's going to be closed down for you to have that sort of experience with the family and towards the end of the trip,
yeah.
um, yeah, it's we did the Triceratops a couple of times ourselves. Did you do it like the old school days where you just stayed in the seat, or did they make you get out and go around the queue again?
The first time we got out and we walked around, and then the second or the third time they were like, "Do you know what? You might as well just you might as well sit in your seat. We know you're going to go on it again. And that was just like, that was excitement levels increased for Penny. She was like, what, we can really stay on and go on it another time. And yeah, it was just a fantastic night. We loved it. And the cast members, obviously from the carnival games, they were all closed down. So they were just all standing around and cheering as we went round on Triceratops spin. It was, yeah, it was a great memory. It will be a great memory for years to come. And again, just another reason why we fork out what we do to go over to Walt Disney World on multiple occasions.
Oh, they got it.
They've hooked us.
Yeah, yeah. I got the scar on my cheek to prove it. It's or maybe the hook's still in there actually.
Yeah.
But no, they've definitely got us. They got us younger, didn't they? They knew that was it.
Yeah.
But I thoroughly believe. I say to people all the time, if they haven't been, or if they've only done Disneyland Paris or whatever, if they're a parent, they just got to go and do it.
Just do it.
I don't understand these t-shirts like dads walking around most expensive day ever, or or I was made to come here. Give over. If you're not getting a feeling from seeing your kids having the best time of their life, there's something wrong with you. I don't believe those dads t-shirts for 1 minute. They're just trying to play it cool.
Yeah.
It's great to go as a kid, and it's great to go as a big kid, as a Disney adult, as they call it. But when you go as a parent, it's another level. And those moments, like you just described, are what it's all about. And that's why they keep us coming back.
Yeah, 100%. Next time we go out there, we'll have to jump on another episode like that. It'll be interesting to hear if those awards change for any reason over the years. I'm sure they will. And, we've mentioned favorite parks and favorite rides. The thing that really does keep us going back is there's always something new. There's always a new experience. I'm sure those lists will change over time. So yeah, thank you kindly for your time tonight, Luke, and going through certainly a trip down memory lane for our March trip. It was a fab trip. It was also fab to see you out there as well. We had our moments at Blizzard Beach, and also we met each other in the Saratoga Springs shop, as we mentioned on the Brits Guide episode, and we were able to get a selfie in Fantasyland as well. So it was great to see you guys enjoying yourself out there, and yeah, hopefully we get to see each other out there again soon.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. It was. I'm glad we managed to do it a couple of times as well. So it's it's like schedules sometimes don't always align, but we seem to accidentally do it. In fact, when we tried to do it, it was a bit harder, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
But
Yeah, we
yeah,
had to tackle the weather.
yeah. But yeah, it was great, and yeah, hopefully we'll get the chance to do it like that again soon.
For sure. Great stuff. I appreciate you coming on today. People want to follow along with pictures, memories, and thoughts and opinions of Walt Disney World. Where can they find you?
Yeah. So, and this sort of leads on to something actually. At the moment, you can find me under Disney Fans UK. That's Disney Fans FANS, fans with an S UK, on Instagram. However, that is soon going to change. I think by the time this comes out, it will be Disney Fans UK, but it will change shortly afterwards because myself, your good host here, Adam, Kev from Brits Guide to DVC, and another Adam Cumber, who I affectionately call Aircon because his initials are AC. We are going to be bringing something to you called the Disload. I'm not going to say what it is. It's pretty exciting times for us, I think. So
Absolutely.
that Instagram is going to change to the Disload. Hopefully, it's not taken by the time I go to change it. Otherwise, we'll have to change to something else. But yeah, for now, it's Disney Fans UK. In a few weeks' time, we're going to change it to the Disload and more. Follow that account, and also follow Definition Diz as well and Brits Guide to DVC because we will be outlining what the Disload is and what it means. So it's exciting times. But yeah, for now, you can find me at Disney Fans UK.
Great stuff. Yeah, that's just to echo what you've said, that we've got some exciting things and exciting content to share as a combined force together. I'm looking forward to it. There's going to be some fun conversations to come, that's for sure.
Yeah, we put together a super group.
Like Velvet Revolver or
Yeah. I was going to say Velvet Revolver. Yeah, that's probably my favorite super group, if I'm honest. Or Velvet Revolver or Cream or something like that. Yeah, there's only 3 in Cream and there's 5 in Velvet Revolver. So I was trying to think on before. Oh, Audio Slave.
yeah.
We'll go with that. They're sort of two bands, not a super group, but we'll go with it.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you kindly, Luke. Appreciate your time.
No, thank you, mate, and I will catch up with you soon.
Yeah, speak soon. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. Follow us on the podcast, on Insta, and now YouTube. We'll see you next time.